This time around, the House of Representatives is proposing a bill to criminalize non-payment of or failure to pay salaries by employers of labor and corporate bodies across the country. So when this bill is passed into law, employees can actually demand payment from their employer by submitting a written claim. The bill, sponsored by Wale Hamed, a member representing the Agege Federal Constituency in Lagos State, has passed its first reading already. According to this bill, employers who are found guilty of owing salaries are risking 3 to 6 months of imprisonment without the possibility of a fine. Now, there are sections of this bill that are quite interesting. I'll get to that in a bit. But then, similarly, let me just run through it. Similarly, a corporate entity who fails to adhere to a court order requesting the remuneration of his employees be paid risks a fine of 10,000 naira every day, or the business is sealed off for a period not exceeding 3 months, provided that the default extends beyond 2 months. This is even as the bill also imposes a 10,000 naira penalty on any officer or agent of the organization, government, parastatal agency, body, or institution who deliberately or knowingly authorizes or permits the default or the non-payment compliance with the directive until it is complied with. Now, basically, what this is saying that if you owe your staff salary, according to this bill, there are chances that you can actually
go in jail.
You can end up in jail.
You must understand that some things that you read in public space, they beg reality. They don't add up. My office, we shut down. Why? We look at the first situation vis-a-vis the attendant week naira, and we saw that we could not increase salaries because our income status wasn't going to increase at that rate. So we sat down and we said, let's be doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday. At the end of the day, we still had issues with this. I said, okay, stay at home. When we need you, we call you. Alternatively, we can send you assignments, then you report via the internet. But you know what that means? You get paid when you work. Loss of job. So many people are out there on the street, jobless, because of this inclement situation and weather. And you are now saying, and some employers are still retaining their staff on empathy and sympathy basis. That, okay, let's just continue trudging on, it will get better. So you will now come and say, oh, I have not paid myself, I should go to jail. I will not let that happen. I will have sent them all away. Because in my attempt to create...
I'm sure even your employers will carry mat and follow you into that
in my attempt to create jobs, and then I ran into crisis, not of my own making, but the inclement economic weather that I found myself. And then you are now putting me into jail instead of proposing bills that will address the situation that is making businesses here not to succeed. Why are we doing reverse mentality and reverse thinking?
A worker, as the Bible says, is entitled to his wages. So it's a very big offense, it's very sinful to refuse to pay a worker after he has done the job.
Refuse being the offense.
Yeah. Some people don't pay maybe because business did not work. But I also know in Nigeria that sometimes even when business is thriving, if I have a friend who was like that, his business will be thriving, he refused to pay his guys, and his guys will be complaining and say, pay them. And I say, to make it in this world, you have to control human beings. You didn't want to give them money and then they will operate independently. You did it to revolve around it.
That's wicked.
So that was very wicked. And those days I used to go to Abuja. You fly the plane to Abuja, you meet big men, they talk big talk. But once I took a bus, my money was very tight, so I took a bus from Abuja to Lagos. And in the boss, a lot of them were complaining about not being paid by their boss. So how can you work, and if I work for 1 month and you don't pay me, I'll lose my mind. I can't continue anymore. So did you go tell your boss to pay you? He said, no, if I tell him, he might fire me. I said, but if you're not being paid, you're like somebody who is fired already. He said, but they keep sending me on errands like this to Abuja, and I make money. So it's keeping me going. But why is your business thriving and you won't pay your workers? The same oga, madam mentality of Nigeria. The same reason your landlady harasses you, ignores landlord-tenant law, and just want to rub it on you, and we own this house. The same way as our senators work, they have 10 policemen following them. Senators, general, cuts across board, labor senators, all the senators. You see, so everybody wants to be a big man at the expense of others. And even those proposing these laws do the same thing in their own way, one way or the other. But such laws are most irrelevant. We have more important things to deal with. Banditry is ravaging this country. Let the law enforcement agencies handle that. We have Boko Haram in the north attacking civilian and military targets with impunity. Let our law deal with them. We have ESN, IPOB, and all of them in the southeast, kidnapping people, killing people unnecessarily. Across board, there's trouble. So let's deal with this trouble and also sort out our economic woes.
So you think this is not an issue for the House of Reps?
No.
To be able to discuss it at this time.
It should be dealt with, but it goes deeper.
Beyond that.
It goes deeper. It's a societal thing. He pastoralized to his congregation that if you question me, you will incur the wrath of God on earth and be consigned to hellfire in the hereafter. Why is he lying? Because he wants to be in charge, he wants to dominate. It's the same thing that translates to people who work for you, refuse to pay them, because to make it, you have to control human beings. It's that same control, that orgasm, madaimism, which is attitudinal. And God won't change attitude.
Okay,
now, I understand what you are saying,
Yes.
but you see, it's not in the larger percentage. Most of the people who are not paying their salary are struggling enterprises.
That's
I can
fine,
confirm that to you. My hospital is not far from here. A woman, the day she hit 1 year and of no salary, she just resigned and left. Till date, they've not been able to pay her the 1 year salary. Now, she worked for 15 years. She had entitlements. When they've not paid her salaries that she worked for, she will now be asking for entitlements, which are benefits in kind, so to say, even though deserved. So I will rather the sponsor of that bill goes back to the drawing table to ask, these companies say they're not paying, how well are they doing? How many companies are doing well? If people are, in most places, they are struggling. You go to an office and then one person will be at the reception, will have done cleaning in the morning before others come in. Why? Because they can't afford to hire adequate number of staff. They are managing, they are struggling.
Are those not exceptional cases? Is that the general trend around?
No, you see, majority are in that category. You must understand. Yes, the majority. I just told you our own situation now. When we could not, instead of anybody now sending me to jail, I mean, way back in August, we said, let's close shop.
I mean, one of my analysts, the chief of us, some weeks ago, mentioned he hadn't paid his staff for 3
yes, he said
months.
so. He said,
and then that Christmas
please
period,
remind him that he's been prepared.
He said, for Christmas he was working on sorry, he pays them, and after paying them, half of them have to go. All right,
You can imagine that.
He really cannot.
Some people are earning half salary. Some are taking quarter.
All right, like I mentioned before, this bill has been generating a lot of conversation. online. People who are talking like Are has been talking on the show this afternoon.
No.
So go online. There are several sections, of that bill that are quite interesting. Okay, go and read up on it. Okay, I've forgotten. All right, the bill is titled the Employees Remuneration Protection Bill 2023, and of course it's being sponsored by an Agege Federal Constituency member called Wale Hamed. Go online and check it out. But then with this proposed legislation, employers are obligated to provide written terms of employment to resuming employees within 14 working days of the employee's return to work for terms of employment exceeding 1 month. Now, the employment contract is binding on both the employer and the employee and shall comprehensively outlaw the terms and conditions, remuneration, and methods of payment, in addition to the character of the employment and the procedure for terminating it either party. Now, we have the employment and labor law already in Nigeria, all right? I just feel like this bill is just taking like a section of it and trying to, just highlight a bit more on that.
Incidentally, we operate.
But then, how effective are really our labor laws?
We operate in a peculiar industry, the media.
You gotta go, gentlemen.
Where people are hardly paid as are well due. Are they going to jail our employers?
Many newspapers don't pay.
They don't pay.
They don't pay.
Well,
They tell you that ID card should get you something.
Oh.
As though our preoccupation ends with
That's
just
the size of the program for this afternoon. Thank you so much to my studio guests.